So, Sunday morning on December 28th, it's Goodbye River Heritage. Checkout time in the morning after breakfast. Clean laundry is collected. Sid has taken responsibility for tipping all the staff. Thanks, Sid. They were terrific, especially the bagpipe player who was there to see us off. 4 cars arrived. They looked comfortable and safe at first. Ron, Missy, Rucker, and I were in the last car. We missed much of the drama about fumes leaking into one of the kids' cars, the driver who cut out the seat belts because they were annoying, etc. We all made it to the destination, our last stop, the famous city of Rishikesh, where the Beatles went to discover an ashram and make themselves holy and even more famous. But it was a drive to remember. To get there, we stopped for a quick bite and a pit stop about halfway, a great place to take pictures with the Indian figures positioned in the yard. So we did, but many of the other Indian tourists wanted to take pictures with us, especially with the kids. There was a great snack and toy shop where I could have spent a lot of money. Very fun stuff. We were back in the cars. Kids shifted to cars with no fumes, and we set off. As we approached the Rishikesh suburbs, we encountered a giant traffic jam. Apparently, the government had recently announced a new policy that would hurt the poorer people who worked in the agricultural lands in the area. It is clear that this is a rapidly developing part of India, and those lands must be increasingly valuable as they're switching from agricultural use to companies and manufacturing and hotels. We saw a lot of new construction. The traffic jam itself was amazing. Normally, the, quote, highway, unquote, had 4 lanes, 2 north and 2 south. As we tried to drive south to Rishikesh, our 2 lanes would narrow down to barely 1, as the north drivers gained in aggression. Then everything would come to a standstill with much yelling and fist-waving, but shockingly no hitting and no bumping. Suddenly, I'd realize we were moving again, slowly, but we were now part of 3 lanes going south on the same narrow road. Amazingly, people who looked authoritative would get out of their cars. I'm looking at you, bald guy with a mustache, dressed in a baby blue tracksuit, and marched down the road telling drivers what to do. 10 minutes later, he came back to his car. But in the meantime, we had really started to move forward. This may say something good about Indian democracy. I don't know. Eventually, the noise subsided and the cars began to move. 2 lines per lane, as appropriate, north and south. Eventually, we pulled into our new home in Rishikesh, the Terracotta Hotel. Some of the group drifted out to find places to eat. Within about 30 minutes, we all had got the message, had arrived, and were distracting the waitstaff with our adorable youngest generation. It was our first evening in this famous city. It is one of the most famous cities on the Ganges. Being on the Ganges, that storied world river at the foot of the Himalayas, made it famous for me. Rucker had gone above and beyond to set up some truly amazing special events for our group. The Terracotta had a large space where we could create or bring in our own events. One of these events, a woman teaching sound and voice chakras, was amazing, but most of the heartfelt votes went to the cooking classes. I'm jumping ahead. It is still our first arrival night. There was no room at the inn for Rucker and Karthik, who stayed up the road, maybe giving Rucker a chance to fend off some kind of cold or other disease that she was beginning to nurture. But they did show up for that first meal and were regular parts of the group. Loring, Thea, and Missy wandered around and found a delightful open cafe called Nourish. By open, I mean no wall facing the street, that it was set up about 3 steps, so it was highly unlikely that one of the motorcycles would come crashing in. 3 stairs did not stop the 2 vocal neighborhood dogs, though. Each of us spent some quiet, happy times eating the delicious food. One man would cook what you wanted, whatever you wanted. Sipping honey ginger tea, sketching doodles on little pieces of paper to post on the wall, watching the neighbors walk by. Everyone was coming back, reporting best coffee, best pastries, etc. from different places. Nourish and Be More were my two favorites. We arrived on the 28th, and many of us, including Ron and me, Byron, Victoria, Saul, and Sylvie, Colleen, Taylor, Sophia, and Alex, and Sid would leave on January 1st or 2nd. Time was getting short. By this time, it felt like such a perfectly knit, highly functional family. I was sad to feel it coming to an end, and I sensed we all felt that way. Fortunately, Rucker had so many plans for us to look forward to each day, there was no time to waste contemplating the end. And it was not to be a sudden end. People would peel away for the airport a little at a time, making it easier to see the end coming in this wonderful adventure.